So, T-Fit here, Fit Bully TV. How to get a dog to guard or protect your house. I keep getting the question. I told the guy, hey, I'm gonna do a little video. We're gonna just have a discussion today. We're not gonna go into a lot of work inside of this thing. But listen, guys, because your dog bites on the pillow, because your dog bites on the rope, does not mean it'll bite somebody. Because your dog growls every now and then, does not mean it'll bite somebody. Because your dog kind of checks a few dogs, doesn't mean it'll bite somebody. You'd be surprised that a dog's first and initial intent when seeing something or seeing a human, they don't think to bite the person, especially just because you know things are going wrong per se. So step one, what's the step? Well, first thing somebody's got to do to get a dog to be a guard dog, if you would.
Well, you want a confident dog. You don't want a dog that's going to growl at everything and anybody, because you don't want a cannon, a loose cannon. You want a dog that you can take everywhere, because if you can't take them, they can't protect you. So just like now, Rocco's out doing what he does. There's people over there, we're out here doing, and he's not worried about it because we've developed that confidence in the dog, first off. The next thing you need to do is have a dog that can do the ability. You don't want a dog that's fragile or frail or afraid to jump on something or slippery surfaces, whatever. Again, it goes back to having confidence.
Yeah, and what he means is, let's say a robber jumps up on your counter or something and the dog's just barking. You jump on my counter, my dog's gonna get up there. And you jump on his counter, the dog's gonna go over the counter.
You jump outside on the car, they coming and get you as well.
And it sounds crazy, but you'd be surprised. I mean, a natural instinct of an average person is to find shelter or hide in whatever regard. And you see them videos, remember Cujo? Cujo coming through them cabinets, he coming through the car, he coming through wherever. There's no obstacle for Cujo. He's like, wherever the flesh is at, that's what I want in.
Another thing, you don't want a dog who's aggressive. You don't want that, because when they're in that aggressive mindset, they can choose flight just as honorable as fighting. In the wild, it's about survival, and we got to make these dogs understand that when we tell them to do certain things, that they're going against their natural instinct to survive, and they're only doing that because they love us and they develop that bond and that relationship with us. So it goes back to making sure your dog actually likes you and wants to defend you. A lot of people leave their dog in the backyard, never take that dog anywhere, and then, oh, I want him to die for me. Well, why would your dog die for you when you don't even like your dog, to be truthfully honest?
And for me, that goes back to the bonding process, And I think there's a lot of missed steps early on that people take, and like he said, then I get that, hey, my dog's a year old, I want to get him going. It's like, well, what you been doing for the past year? There are some very critical moments in your dog's development, and you and your dog's development that take place early on. I'm talking as early as 6 weeks sometimes. But what you don't want to do is assume. Key word is assume. It's like somebody giving you a gun and you not knowing how to take it off safety, and you is like, hey, I left you a gun to protect yourself, but you still end up dead. Why? You never went to the shooting range. Nobody ever told you how to clean the gun. Yeah, you go down the line, you like, oh, you wasn't prepared for this moment. Now, if it's of course you don't ever want to have to deal with the moment, but poo-poo happens, unfortunately, nowadays, and better be prepared than sorry, to say the least. So what's another thing that people get confused when thinking, hey, I've got a guard dog that will do anything. Okay, you got that while you're talking to me. Yeah. But what's something else they get confused?
Just because you have a breed, so I got a German Shepherd, he can protect me. Well, that doesn't mean that. Just because somebody's 6'7" doesn't mean they're going to be LeBron. Yeah. You got to have that dog in you. You got to have that want to, that desire, that killer instinct. And some dogs, they're just not built for it. And that's not to say that they can't do a certain job, but you got to make sure that you know exactly what job your dog is going to be able to do. Oakley, she's not a dog I'm going to take down to somewhere where I know some shit's going to pop off. Rocco, on the other hand, it's a different story. But I will put her in situations like we're going to police dog competition. She's going to do very well at that because it's a controlled environment and she knows what to do in those situations. Rocco, on the other hand, he can do that and go down to the hood if he needs to. So you gotta have that dog.
So explain that a little bit too, because I don't know all the terms, by the way, people. We used to have dogs that would chew you up, and we trained them to do so, but that was because, back in the day, it was just about having an aggressive dog, which as you continue to learn, and as I said, I breed personally, so that if my 90-year-old grandmother was alive, who did have one of my pits back in the day, she could, manage the dog. So what's it called when a dog is more toy-driven versus the human-driven? Because like with Breg, he puts the muzzles on and the dog still tries to get at you. But then there's these dogs like, oh, well, sure, my dog will get after you or get on the suit. And it's like, no, he just wants to bite that arm or bite that pillow or bite something. He's not going to bite anything, to be clear. Yeah. That's human.
So we would call that equipment-oriented dogs. And if you're doing a dog sport, yes, that dog should know exactly when they see these certain things that they should do that. But you also want to teach your dog that if he doesn't have any equipment on, and I told you to give that bite command, you go find a bite. You don't have to have a sleeve or a suit or whatever for you to go bite. Go do your job and handle it. So those dogs are going to be more civil-oriented.
And civil means what?
Civil. You're just a civilian at that point.
So if you a civilian and you got your meat out, you bare skin basically, and that dog is told to ruin it. Wreck-It Ralph. I'm sending Wreck-It Ralph over here. He's gonna get busy versus, you know, like you've seen the video, I think, even of Ego. Ego won't get on the suit. But Tron right away kind of figured it out. It was like, okay. And you know, you'd be surprised because Tron's a little dumbfounded at time, and Ego seems like the aggressor. But as I said before, he's not as aggressive, let alone as driven as people think. He's driven by toys and playtime. But I just bred him so we could, you know, prove the concept that, you know, a dog could do some work. Tron's the goal.
And a dog like Tron, what we would have to do is we would take the sleeve and the suits away, and then we would get hidden sleeves. So basically, I get an oversized jacket, I probably put your jacket on, and then have a bite pillow or bite sleeve under it so the dog can't visually see it, and I'm gonna do the same exact thing so they look, oh, this man, I can still bite him. But we don't want to just let the dog bite us because I ain't trying to get bit. That shit does not feel good.
Yeah.
It hurts and just a whole thing.
Yeah, he'd have been bit a few times. But guys, simply put, we're talking guard dogs. Do not assume that your dog is a guard dog. And if your dog is overly aggressive, and it does bite a human, that's also not a cool thing either. You want to be able to, we'll just say, keep a loaded weapon safe. And that's the biggest thing. If you've got a loaded weapon in your car, you know, you don't have to pull it out at all times. Or any time for that matter, unless, you know, depending on what state you're in.
all dogs will bite. The most important thing you want to do is be able to tell them when, where, and most importantly, to stop biting when you say so.
Boom, there you have it. So we'll try to do some more stuff and, you know, potentially a small series on how to get your dog to do guard and some bite work and protect the home. I think that'll be a good thing, like, hey, how to get a dog to protect your house. For one, you got to get the right dog people. If you're a bully person and you're like, I want my bully to protect the house, listen, y'all know they're not breeding bullies to protect nothing. They can't even hardly protect themselves. And then there's someone that can get busy. We have a few of them that we're working on, but I repeat, people, we're 5 years away. You know, for the ones that are hitting me up, I want my dog to be like Tron and Ego. They didn't come like this. They didn't come like this. I worked diligently to build those dogs' confidence, character, nature, and will up, and drive, focus, so many things, just so I can ensure that things get better. They're step one in a 30-step process. And I just like, okay, can we put some stuff in here and work around it? Yeah, we can. Some people gonna get Tron sons in the future and be like, hey, he ain't acting like Tron. I'm like, Tron wasn't Tron. You know, I had to make Tron, and then continue to make sure he lives up to his name, which is Megatron. So stay tuned, take care of your dog. Stan, thank you so much for answering some of those questions.